All right, welcome to episode 1 of the Chalk Talk video podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Ken Doolittle. I'm joined by our co-host, Michael Burke. Mike, how are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a nice long weekend for everybody. Weather's been good. Fall is in the air. We made it through the dog days of summer, and now it's football season.
I gotta say, man, not enough golf this summer. Mainly my fault, but not nearly enough hitting the links, man. You want to talk about gambling?
As of right now, I am 1-0 on you. First time I could ever say that, and I may just not play against you the rest of the year, so I can hold the title at least for a year. But yeah, it seems like it's been a one-sided affair, and I don't know if you're just too scared to come back and play me for some more money, or what. But hopefully, with the change in season, you can get on the course and we can start put some money on the table.
Yeah, so you were quick to drop your 1-0 line, but you did not. You neglected to tell your listeners what the overall record is over the last 3 or 4 years, which might be 1 and a lot more than 1. Am I accurate?
One in infinity, possibly.
Something like that. All right. Well, hey, so this is the Chalk Talk podcast, and me and Mike are going to talk a lot about our gambling strategies. You know, we are not intending for this to be like a Sharps podcast. Neither of us are Sharps by any means. We are, casual office Sharps, we'll say. 9 to 5 dudes who are betting as we see fit, trying to take advantage of some lines, and hopefully educate you guys along the way, whether it be through a little bit of, gambling terminology, knowing what to look for, knowing what we look at, and just how to approach a couple different sports as we go. So we're going to start with a little football talk and a little fantasy football talk, which is tangentially related to gambling. So we have a draft in a couple hours, just under 2 hours here. We do a snake draft because our commissioner is a child and still thinks that snake drafts are the way to go. For those of you listening, auction drafts are the ways that adults do their drafts, and snake drafts are the ways that middle schoolers do their drafts. So I am not pleased with how we're doing this, but that's all right. What pick do you have?
I have pick 9, and
pick
this
9.
This is actually draft number 4 for me. So I kind of have an idea of the trends, even though I've been going against a lot of people who just play fantasy football for fun. Got a couple serious guys, but I have an idea for the most part where guys have been falling into place. So I'm going to use that to my advantage, hopefully, and be able to take some good draft picks and build a team that can win a championship.
Yeah, man, that's helpful because every site is ranked very differently.
Yes.
And I guess our first pick of advice for the night is if you are, most of us are on ESPN. I don't know if anybody uses Yahoo anymore, but a lot of people.
I've had one draft through Yahoo, and the rankings have been completely.
Yeah, they're not great. Some people use Sleeper. I think Sleeper is the optimal platform that we should be on, but the ESPN rankings are kind of trash. The Yahoo ones, I assume, are kind of trash. So my number one tip for those of you drafting in fantasy, especially high money league fantasies or high money fantasy leagues, use your own rankings, right? Don't go off those ESPN rankings because you can really find an advantage. But you need to know what they are ahead of time too, because if you have a player, and again, I'm not giving you any surprises because by the time this is out, we'll be well through our draft. But if you have a player, say, Tyreek Hill, right? In my rankings, he's ranked 8th. And I think in the ESPN rankings, he's like 12th, right? So that could be a big difference. So if you're at 8 and you say, well, Tyreek's around, who cares? You know what I mean? Take them based on your rankings, not based on these ESPN rankings. I think that's super important to do. Who are you looking at your pick?
I'm really hoping, which I doubt because our league has a lot of good guys who know what they're doing for the most part. I'm hoping
sure?
For the most part. But I think if Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb fall to 9, which I don't see happening, that would be best case scenario for me. I mean, I know the Saquon Barkley news today, him being a full go for contact, that might play a little bit because he's been falling a little bit in drafts that I've seen so far. But with that news, he might go a little higher than anticipated, which means that Chubb or Jones could fall down toward my range.
So here's a perfect example of that, right? In my rankings, Nick Chubb is 17th in half-point PPR. So if you like him 9, you take him 9, right?
Agreed.
just because I have him 17, if you like him, he's obviously not going to be around for your next pick, namely because you traded your next pick to me. So now I have that early second round pick. A little bit of humble bragging here. I have 3 picks inside the top 20, which is hopefully going to work out for me if I nail the guys.
Well,
I'm sitting at the 6th pick, and I was good. I had the 3 pick. Long story short, I traded down from 3 to 6. I was going to take Zeke at 3. I think I might get him at 6, and I can guarantee you Aaron Jones won't fall to you because if he's around at 6, I'm taking him. So you can check him off the board at that one.
Yeah, I've only seen.
I think he's going to go 5th or 6th.
I've seen one draft that I've been a part of where Zeke fell below 6, and that was completely my fault because my computer malfunctioned, and I was going to take him. I ended up taking Travis Kelce instead. For some reason, he's number 6 in the ESPN rankings at the time I took the draft.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Kelce, I don't know. And again, we're not talking fantasy a lot today, but just because our draft's coming up, I have Kelce 10th. I still probably wouldn't take him. I don't want to be the bag holder of Kelce, where we've been taking him at the end of round 2 for 5 years, however long he's been around. And now finally he's got a mid round 1 price tag.
But
I don't want to be the guy that pulls the trigger on it.
It's not worth it. He should be a certified round 2 pick, and he's almost like a wide receiver in that aspect, the way he plays in that offense. So you're really not. I'm sure you guys want Hill, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, 3 top receivers pretty much across the board in every single
those are the big 3 for sure.
Honestly, I would consider putting Kelce 4 just because he's an offense that just slings the ball around like it does. He's going to get his reps and his yards after contact. It's going to help boost his numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate the pick. Well, whatever. My strategy here.
Taking him.
I also will not be taking him. My strategy is anchor with 1 running back at the 6th pick, hopefully Zeke, and then I'm going straight up wide receivers for like 5 straight rounds. So, hey, good luck. Hopefully we have a good draft and nobody auto picks. Also worth noting that we have somebody who does this for a living in our league, and he has never won the league. So if that tells you anything about the snake draft format, it certainly should. So let's move on. Why don't we start with some NFL Week 1 lines? You have not seen the Week 1 lines, is that correct?
That is correct. I've been in college football mode.
So we're gonna play a little fun game here. I have like 5 games that I'm really keen on to bet in Week 1, and these are all lines courtesy of FanDuel. Do you use FanDuel? You like DraftKings? Which one?
No, I'm full FanDuel. I mean, I entertain Barstool Sportsbook now that's opening up across the board because it just seems like they're giving really good deals for odds. But I am a dedicated FanDuel guy at the moment.
Yeah, but then you have to support Barstool, which is an unfortunate habit. So I'm getting these off of FanDuel. I mean, we should start with the Thursday game, right? I don't love this Thursday game. What's your take on this line here? What do you think it is? Cowboys at Buccaneers, Thursday night, 8:20 kickoff.
I mean, you got Dak coming off an injury. Obviously, he didn't get a lot of reps in the offseason. He did get a little banged up in the preseason, but he's coming back fresh. But the Bucs, their defense is another animal. I think the line should be around 5.5.
5.5. You're giving them the Vegas zone there. It's 7.5. Bucs by 7.5. It was 7 until the Cowboys had 50 players ruled out for COVID the other day. And it went up 0.5 point. So it's 7.5. The VIG is minus 114. The VIG is basically, VIG means the amount of money that you pay to bet a line, for those of you that aren't familiar. So if it's minus 114, you have to bet 114 to win back 100. That $14 is what's known as the VIG. So that's an indication that it might even get to 8 by game time. The plus 7.5 is only minus 105. I would not take either side of this. I would not take either side of the over-under, which is set at 52, and it was 51.5, so that's moving up as well. The Bucs are obviously better, and this one is like screaming at me to tease the Bucs down to 1.5 with somebody else. But I can see this bet going awry really quickly where maybe Brady is, he's always ready, but maybe the age is getting to him. Maybe the Cowboys score just too much. I don't like teasing against teams that can score at will.
I don't know what it is about Brady, but it seems like in recent years, even though his success in running into Super Bowls and winning championships, he's a slower starter than you'd think. I know the Patriots had their issues in the past, and they always got hot late. I mean, that's credit because the AFC East was a trash division for so many years. But um,
So how much of that is like a LeBron thing, though, where LeBron clearly knows his body, clearly knows what the goal is, doesn't give a shit about the regular season, right? How much of
but
that is a Brady LeBron thing?
the difference, I think, here too is all the stars from last year have a year under their belt in that system. They've
Well,
won
and
a
they got
title together.
everybody back.
Everybody's coming back.
Everybody. That's
And
unheard of.
they don't have to really bring in anybody new, teach the new system. Everybody kind of knows. And when you got a whole team coming back and you can expand upon the system you already been in, you're going to see a lot of bounds of success. If I were a betting man, I would take the Bucks all day long in this game,
Yeah,
regardless
I mean,
of what the
the
line is.
Bucks. The Bucks is probably the bet at the 7.5. I don't love the hook there, 7.5. I don't know. My suggestion is stay off this one. It's going to be impossible not to bet this. It's the opening game. It's Thursday night. We're going to have to get some action on it. I guess the bet would be the Bucks if we had to play it. But I'm going to zag here. I'm going to take the boys plus 7.5. I think they keep it close. I think that offense is unstoppable. I know Tampa's D is great, and that line looks fantastic. And the boys got a lot of banged up people on their O-line and people out for COVID. I'm going to take the 7.5. Maybe they get a backdoor cover at the end. Maybe they lose by a touchdown. This game could not even be close. It could be like a 16-point game. Late in the fourth, they could score a touchdown, go for 2, get 8, kick a field goal, right? Never really in contention to win, but could definitely cover that 7.5. So I'm going to mark that down. But again, I don't love it.
Yeah, we should find a way to keep track of our bets just so the fans at home could decide if they want to ride with us or fade us. Full disclosure, I am not ashamed if you decide to fade my bets. People have been doing it to me for years, so feel free to do as you will with this information.
Yeah, so here's what we'll do.
I want you all to win some money, one way
Here's
or
what we'll
another.
do. We're gonna make our picks throughout the cast here, and we're gonna have 3 at the end of this that we make like our certified picks for the week. All right, and those 3 will be the ones that we're officially on for people to ride. The Cowboys is not a bet that I'm on to ride at all. I would say stay away from this. You want the Bucks, or are you staying away from this too?
You know what? I'm going to take the Bucks Thursday. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to take the Bucks
He's
Thursday
in.
night.
He's in. There's one.
Lock that in for one of my 3.
Bucks minus 7.5. All right. So the next game that I love, and I want to say this is probably my favorite one on the slate in week 1. Chargers at Washington football team. Justin Herbert coming off an epic rookie campaign. You have Washington football team. People saying their defense is the best unit in that division. I disagree. I think it's the Cowboys' offense, but a lot of talk about how good that defense is. Fitzmagic back under center. You got Taylor Heineken as his backup there. What is the line on this one?
I'm assuming this is a 1:00 Sunday game.
It's a 1:00 Sunday game. Yep, in Washington.
And I am a big proponent of taking the East Coast team facing a West Coast team in a 1 p.m. start. I do know it's an opening day. Right now, I would say the line has to be – it's got to be under 3. I would say Chargers minus 2. Chargers minus 2.
Chargers minus 1 is the line that we get on the road. I love the Chargers in this spot. Love them. The total's 44.5. I don't think it's going to get there either. I would take the under if I had to. Herbert is good. He's the real deal. I don't think the football team is that good, to be honest with you. I think they end up winning 7 or 8 games this year. I think there's way too much hype behind them. I think that defense is great. Chase Young is special. He's part of my futures bets that I want to hamper on later. The Chargers team is good, and they could win their division. I don't think they're going to lose week 1 as a 1-point favorite. Even take them on the money line. It's only minus 108 if you want that security. I don't think they're losing week 1 to an average Washington football team.
You think the Chargers can win their division with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City?
I do, because Kansas City is a juggernaut, of course. Their over-under for the season for wins is 12.5. Last I checked, I think the Chargers is 9.5. The Chargers were 6-1 to win that division. It's only taking Mahomes missing 2 games for them to be in the driver's seat. I think they win 10 or 11 games. I think there's an option or an opportunity for the Chiefs to kind of take their foot off the pedal this year. I think if anybody takes a step back, it's them. I will never bet against them, but at 6-1, the Chargers have a decent shot to win that division.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go against you on this one. I think because of Chase Young and that defensive front, Washington being at home, and there's just something about Fitzmagic in week one that he puts up outrageous numbers. He comes in colorful into the press conferences post game. I feel like I could take Washington on the money line here.
It's minus
See,
108 both ways.
see them winning a very close defensive game, but they find a way to get it done at home in week one.
All right. I mean, I could see it. I could see it happening. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's like a 21-17 kind of game. A lot of respect for Fitzmagic. Is he a good quarterback? I don't know. I'm always going to bet with the better quarterback. I love Justin Herbert.
Fitz is experienced. I'm personally staying away from this game just because I don't know enough about either of these teams. Washington obviously being a complete wild card, but they are a playoff team from last year. Somehow they got in a
somehow they got in.
Lackluster NFC East, but here Fitzmagic, Chase Young, kind of leaning towards the home team here, especially with the 1 o'clock start against the West Coast team.
All right, so he's going against me, but he's not making it one of his locks for the week. I am. I'm taking the favorite, Chargers -1. Next one I'm looking at here, Vikings at Bengals. This is another Sunday 1 o'clock kickoff. Vikings, obviously, fantasy darling with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, even Kirk Cousins puts up some numbers every now and then. Not so great in the real world, though. Not sure about how that defense looks this year. Not sure if they can actually block for Dalvin Cook, although they have a great scheme. And the Bengals, right? Everybody's Cinderella here. Joey Burrow looking good last year until he went out. Great young receiving core. Joe Mixon is still in the fold there. What do you think? In Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati, yeah, that's a big deal. So that line's going to be closer to the Bengals. It's probably Vikings -1.
So this one is Vikes -3. And I love the dog in this one. I am all on the Bengals in this one. The +3 is only -106. You're almost getting even money on the take back there. If you want to take them on the money line, you get +140. I would say why not take the +3. If they lose by 3, you get your money back. I am all in on Joey Burrow this year. I think he was the real deal last year. I think that receiving core is the real deal. I don't think the Vikings are ever going to win anything, ever. And it's in Cincinnati. Burrow's had the whole offseason to rehab. Remember, he got hurt pretty early, right? When did he get hurt? It was like week 7.
It was actually against Chase Young and Washington when he got hurt. I want to say it was mid-year because he was on pace to be Rookie of the Year, I think.
Mid-year. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, it was sometime between like 7 and 10.
You just had that unfortunate injury because his offensive line couldn't protect him against that defensive front. He got kind of sandwiched and his leg got caught up there and rolled on top of him.
Right. So he's had the equivalent of, what's week 7? That's sometime in October, November-ish. I mean, he's had almost a calendar year. He's had 11 months to rehab. I think he's fine. I don't know. I love the Bengals this year. Their win total is 6.5. I'm so far over with that on them. And by so far, I mean 8 wins. I would take them over 7.5 on an adjusted line. I don't know. Talk me out of it. What am I missing?
Why
isn't it a pick'em in Cincinnati?
Because I love what Cincinnati's doing, but I just think with their young core of inexperienced guys who they're putting in high-profile positions. I love Jamar Chase linking back up with Joe Burrow. Those guys were dynamite at LSU when they won a national championship, but the NFL is another animal, and I think the Bengals are 1 year away. I mean, you're going to see strides. You're going to see probably close to 500 football for them, but they're going to be short of the playoffs. I think the Vikings win, but the Bengals cover.
All right, so you're on the +32 then.
Yes, I'm on the +3, but I believe the Vikings win this game by 1. It's going to be very close, another very ugly game too.
You can buy the 3.5 for -120. You like that? +3.5.
Yeah, I do like +3.5 at -120. I mean, I think that's good. Right? I think that's good value for a home team coming out with a lot of young energy.
Yeah, we're going to do that. I'm buying that up. So that's my second lock there. Cincinnati +3.5.
I am not locking that game in.
At home against the Vikings. All right. So the last one that I want to talk about, and then I'll just throw out some games here. Dolphins at Patriots. If you want to call it a rivalry, you can, but usually both sides have to compete for it to be a rivalry, and the Dolphins have not. Dolphins in New England. This is a 4:26 kickoff. It'll be Mac Jones' first start in the NFL, and it'll be Tua's. I don't even know how many starts because he sucks. So what's the line on this?
At Patriots, this has to be Patriots -3 with the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, so it is -3. It actually got down to -2.5 as of yesterday, so it's back up to 3 now. And I think this should be 4.5 or 5. How do they not win by a touchdown here?
I don't know. Maybe probably just because of the rookie quarterback in his first start.
Well, that's it, right? The rookies don't win.
It's got to be the only thing. But I think the Patriots defense is solid. They got a lot of guys back who opted out.
Good, man.
And their
you hit it on the head right there.
Good. So I think I could see this being Patriots winning by 7.
You hit it on the head there. Their defense missed a handful of key players last year who opted out of the season. And I feel like, I hate the phrase nobody talks about so-and-so, but nobody talks about that. How many of their defensive players were missing last year?
Yeah, and they were
because they opted out.
Again, they were an elite defense when they won the Super Bowl with Brady before he left. And
well, and their offensive line is at least top 5 in the league right now. They have a strong offensive line. They got the kid Damian Harris, everybody loves. Mac is good. I think Mac's legit. He looks like Brady back there. His decision making is quick. Belichick wouldn't have drafted him if he didn't think he was.
Yeah, if this game was in Miami, I could see Miami winning it outright. I think these guys are going to split the home and home. But being at New England in Week 1, you have to go with the Patriots here, and I'm going to lock this Patriots -3.
Yeah, let's go. So that's a lock that's a double lock right there. So -3 New England. That's a 2-unit bet for us, considering we both locked it in. Love it. All right, so I got my 3 locks. You got 2. Let's try to find you one more here. Some other games I find interesting. Broncos at Giants. It's Broncos -2.5. This is a 4:25 kickoff. The total is suspiciously high. It was 42.5. Now it's 41.5. I think that's way too high. These Broncos games are always 16-10, 17-14. And the Giants suck. Like, Daniel Jones can't throw the ball down the field. If anything, he'll throw it to the Broncos, right? And they'll score 6.
Right, and the Giants' best player probably will be playing on a limited snap count because he's
Saquon comes back, if he plays, which I heard he was cleared to play. Who knows how many snaps he takes. And the Giants just don't even seem interested in winning in the least.
No, for some reason, they've needed help on the offensive line. I don't know if it's a coaching issue or a personnel issue. For several years. Saquon, it seems like he's been behind that line that he had at Penn State for so many years where guys would just be in the backfield and he'd have to juke them out of the way just to get 3 yards. This game's going to be ugly. It's going to be low scoring. Yeah, 41 might even be high for that.
41.5 seems high, man. I would consider, see how your 1 o'clock slate does, but I would consider hammering that under.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching another 4 o'clock game that day anyway. So
that's the one I'm getting to now, the 4 o'clock game we all wanted to see at one point. Green Bay technically at New Orleans. This one is in Jacksonville, I believe. Weird little storyline. They intentionally moved this game to Jacksonville because of the difficulty that they said Packers fans would have getting to Jacksonville, and they wanted to keep it as kind of a home field for the Saints. And then all these stories come out that there is a significant Green Bay fan population in and around the Jacksonville area. This is going to be a home game for the Packers. They're going to have just as many, if not more, fans there than the Saints are. The line is Packers -4. The total is 50, so they expect a bit of a shootout. Last I checked, this is not on turf like it is in the Dome. Why would this game get over 50? Why would Jameis beat Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones? -4 seems too good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Packers fan, and I may sound biased in this, but they've Rodgers running that offense. It brings that team to a whole new level. Jones, Adams, those guys were late round picks in the draft. They were small college guys who just developed in the system and became absolute superstars across the board. They got their money. I know there was a lot of off-season hoopla around Rodgers signing late and having a little rough-in with the management from Green Bay. But if you remember last year when they drafted Jordan Love, the same kind of media kind of sparked, oh, is this the end of Rodgers in Green Bay? They draft a quarterback first round without getting him some help. But he went on to have an MVP-type season. I think this year for them, being the biased Packers fan that I am, complete Super Bowl or bust, no more Breeze to deal with. I think the Packers are going to roll in this, even though it's a road game, but not a true road game, so to speak. I think they win this game by 7 just because their defense plays prevent defense when they're up by
Yeah,
2 touchdowns late in the game. So there's going to
I
be
agree.
a late score from the Saints that's going to really impact that line. But I think 4 is very safe for them.
I agree, man. They win this game by a lot more than 4. I'm certainly going to wager on it once the 1 o'clock slate finishes up. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said Super Bowl because there's no more Drew Brees to deal with. Is that correct?
No, just
Considering Drew Brees looked like a corpse most of last year.
not because of that. I just for the game's purposes, you're going against your quarterback. I know there's other problems in that conference, specifically in another city in Florida who they laid an egg on in the NFC Championship last year. They should have won that game. Didn't happen. And then a lot of love going to the LA Rams right now in the offseason out west to be a serious contender to win the NFC.
Yeah. So, well, and that's, New Orleans, I'm just not keen on them this year at all. I hear the case for them. Their win total is 9 projected. I'm going way under. I think they're a 7-win team this year. With Jameis at the helm, it certainly helps. If they put Taysom in there, it would have been a disaster. He's not a quarterback. Jameis is a quarterback. He's a competent quarterback. He's actually a pretty good quarterback in a lot of ways. If he just didn't throw pick sixes, I think he'd be a very good quarterback. I feel bad for the Saints for, in all of New Orleans with the horrible, weather that's going on down there. That's awful. But it's, going to force them out of their stadium for the first 7 weeks. They don't have a home game until after their bye week. How are they going to get to 9-10 wins to win that bet? I don't see it. I like them under.
I haven't looked at their schedule. It's going to be tough for them going uphill with a new quarterback running the system.
Yeah,
it's really going to hurt. I think that's going to hurt Kamara's stats big time. You got Michael Thomas, who's an absolute wild card right now. No idea what his deal is, but too many question marks about.
Well, Thomas, he's out. He's out for at least 7 weeks. Now they've cloned him apparently in Marquez Callaway. Everybody, talks about how he is Michael Thomas Jr. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know.
Yeah, but
we'll find out.
I haven't seen it yet. We'll see in week 1 against a above average defense. But you're right. A lot of cards stacked against the Saints right now, and I think even Green Bay with their issues, but their issues are far less an issue here.
I'm fine taking Green Bay.
You can lock that -4 in as my pick number 3 for the week.
Number 3, Green Bay -4. All right. So we got a good amount of favorites up here. We worried about that? A lot of dogs usually cover in week 1.
I mean, week 1 is a absolute crapshoot because you just don't know what you're going to get.
And that's why the dogs win them.
A lot of survivor pools get busted. Half the teams go down. Should be easy wins, but you just don't know what's going to happen. First games for a lot of these guys. A lot of guys didn't play in the preseason. That's been the recent trend, and we'll see if they're conditioned and ready to go for a full contact 60 minutes.
So some underdog buzz that I've been hearing. I'll just throw this out there before we get to our locks. Steelers +240 over the Bills. A lot of people are liking that one. I could go either way on it. I'm probably not touching that game either way. I think the Bills are great, but I'm not touching that one either way. Texans are +125 over the Jaguars in Houston. The Texans are going to be awful. They might only win 2 games all year, but this could be one of them. I think it's probably one of the only games they can win.
They just officially announced Tyrod Taylor today.
They did announce Tyrod as the starter. I don't think it matters. They were awful with Deshaun Watson last year, and he had to be superhuman for them to even win. I think they only won 4 games. Their win total is 4 or maybe even 4.5. Take the under. There's no way they get there. There's a prop on FanDuel too. If you take Detroit and Houston under 4.5 each, it's like +250. That's a lock. You could mark that down. You could throw as much as they let you throw on that. Those teams are going to be horrible. Falcons -3.5 over the Eagles. It's in Atlanta. I love Atlanta this year. I hate Philadelphia this year, so I think that's a decent one to take a look at. Some other dog specials that people like. There's a lot of buzz around the Browns over the Chiefs. They're +220. Maybe in week 1, if they play this game 10 weeks from now, there's no way they win. Maybe in week 1, Cleveland gets the best of them. I don't know. And then you have the primetime games. You have Bears at Rams. Bears are +280. I think the Rams smoke them in this one, especially with Red Rocket Andy Dalton starting. And then you have the Monday Nighter. Only 1 this year, which is weird. They usually do 2.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
It's strange. They got this awful Monday night crew going now too, with Levy at the helm. Oh my God, they're awful. They just can't find somebody. I don't understand how ESPN didn't just throw like a blank check at Tony Romo to say, "Hey man, whatever you want, we'll pay you to get you on Monday Night Football," because their crew is so bad.
Yeah, I mean that'd be.
It's horrible.
Well, we
But
know we know ESPN has their issues with keeping good talent with them and making
Yeah,
with
yeah,
talent
you don't
not getting
say.
in. So
So this one's Ravens at Raiders. Ravens are -4.5. Vegas is +180 to win the game outright. A lot of Raiders talk here. They suck too, and I'm really high on the Ravens this year. But I go back to a lot of these primetime games. The Las Vegas wins at home. +180 here, depending on how your week goes, might be something to take a look at. I never like to bet these Monday nighters until the Sunday slate finishes, just to see how I'm doing, where I'm at, if I have any teasers left or anything. But maybe we take a look at that one on Monday. I don't think we lose any value there. It's been 4.5 forever. If you like the Ravens at 4.5, take them at 5 if it goes there. I think it might even go down to 4, honestly. So you're better off waiting on that one.
yeah, there's even with J.K. Dobbins out of that offense, Lamar Jackson's too dynamic of a player.
Yeah, I think Lamar's
he
too.
can be able to. He's known for having big game ones too, just like Fitzpatrick.
He is.
So he could carry
Just
that
a cause for concern on him too. This COVID thing is a real thing, and politics aside, if he is not vaccinated and he gets in contact, he's going to miss games, right? So if you're trying to bet on the Ravens long term, that's the biggest concern: is he going to miss 2 games, 3 games, 4 games in a row? Because if so, their win total is 11. You instantly go under that 11 if you think he's missing games.
Yep,
So
that's
something to consider.
agreed.
This COVID thing is a real issue in the NFL too. Obviously, it's an issue elsewhere, but it's a real issue on some of these
It's still
sets.
an issue all over the world. But
right, there's a lot larger issue than the football season.
yeah, and we're not going to get into that here. This is
no, but as it relates to football, it's also a real issue here. Take a look at if your star quarterback is unvaccinated and might miss games. That's something you have to consider. Some futures odds. There's 2 that I really like. You can talk me into or out of them. I'm all in on the Rams to win the Super Bowl. They're 15-1. That seems way too high to me. McVay is the best coach in football, I think, other than maybe Belichick. And they just went from Jared Goff, who is almost benchable by the worst team in the league now, the Lions, to Matt Stafford, who is a legitimate all-star Pro Bowler quarterback.
He's a fringe Hall of Famer. Sure,
he's a fringe Hall of Famer.
He's got stats out the wazoo in a very poor Detroit Lions franchise.
Yeah,
sure, Calvin Johnson.
The only time that the Lions had a top 10 defense for Matt Stafford, they went 11-5. I think that says something about him. I think McVay is just thrilled to have him. I think that offense is loaded. They'll patch it together at running back. It's not
and if you're looking for some fantasy value, look at those Rams wide receivers. They're going to get
There's some value on that offense. They're going to get a lot of looks.
And they're not going they're good 3rd, 4th, 5th round guys to keep your eyes on if you're looking into the fantasy draft.
Agreed.
Go with those Rams wide receivers.
Agreed. 15-1 seems right to me, or it seems wrong to me. I think that's great value. You could take them to win the division at like +230 too. So I love them. The other futures that I'm all in on is Chase Young to lead the league in sacks. He was +850 last I checked. That should be a lot lower to me.
That should be close.
His sack total is 8.5 for the year. I don't see how he doesn't get to like 13, 12. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I could see him getting to 15. He could almost have a sack a game.
That's what I'm saying, man. So,
he's
you look at –
he's got a year under his belt. He's quick. He's strong.
I agree. And
Washington's
you look at –
have nothing to lose either. So this could be a string of Pro Bowl selections and all pro selections starting this year with Mr. Young.
I think he's the real deal. He is 5th in odds to win Defensive Player of the Year, too, behind the obvious candidates. Aaron Donald is the favorite. Then you have Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa. And then Chase Young is 11-1 in that category. I think that's value. I'm all in on the Rams. I'm all in on Chase Young. Talk me into him. Talk me out of him.
I like those long shot picks. Obviously, the Bucs are most likely the heavy favorites in the NFC. Chiefs, big time favorites in the AFC.
So you have the favorites. You have the Bucs 5-1, or the Bucs 650 plus 650. The Chiefs are 5-1. Then you have the Bills, Packers 12-1, Ravens 14-1, Niners 14-1. Then you get into the Rams at 15-1.
Yeah, the Rams, I think, for your value with what they've got coming in, with a nothing to lose attitude. Nobody's really considering them in the top echelon. They can make a run.
Cowboys 28-1. Can I interest you?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Quick shutdown there. All right,
Yep.
fair enough. Patriots 37-1. Can I intrigue you there?
Not with the rookie quarterback. Mac Jones, unfortunately, is not Tom Brady.
17-1 to win the AFC.
Still no. They're not even the best team in their division, unfortunately,
Okay.
by a
All right.
long shot. The Bills are, I think, head and shoulders above everybody else in the AFC East.
So the Pats are plus 360 to win that division, but the Pats are 2-1 to win a wild card spot. I like that one.
I do too. I think they're a playoff team, especially with those defensive guys coming back. That's going to be a big help
Yeah.
for them.
I like that one a lot. So then you have some MVP odds. Mahomes, the obvious favorite at 5-1. Then you have Rodgers and Brady 10-1, 12-1. Josh Allen 13-1. That one sticks out to me. There's a case to be made for Josh Allen. Buffalo's on the fast track for the 1 seed. They only have to have one thing break against Kansas City for them to be a 1 seed because they're going to win a lot of games. If they're the 1 seed, Josh Allen certainly wins the MVP. They're 11-1 to have the best record in the NFL. Just take Josh Allen 13-1. Even if they're, 13-4, I think that gets it done because he's going to put up monster stats this year.
Yeah, I think if he does what he does throwing the football that they did last year, I mean, Stephon Diggs was a monster help to him, and both of their careers just are taking off now because of that relationship. But if Josh Allen, who still runs the football very, very well, if he gets anywhere close to double-digit rushing touchdowns on the season, which is very possible because he can just run over people around the goal line. He gets to 10-plus touchdowns rushing. Throws his 30 to 40 touchdowns. That's 50 accounted for touchdowns. He's going to have a shot. He's going to have a shot.
13-1 seems fair. That's some good odds.
13-1 is very good odds.
Considering Brady's 12-1, and I don't think there's any chance Brady wins the MVP. Even if the Bucs have a great season, he's just not going to have the numbers to back it up. He doesn't care about that either. I don't think he's going to go for it. Rodgers is 10-1. I mean, I could see a case there. I don't think the team's going to be good enough, despite being a good team. Mahomes at 5-1. I mean, he's an obvious pick. What does he have? 1 MVP, right, so far? Did he win last year?
Mahomes has 1.
Yeah. So, I mean, 5-1 seems right for him. I don't think you're getting any value there. I think you're getting a lot of value at 13-1 for Josh Allen. It depends on what teams you believe in, right? Lamar Jackson is 17-1. Matt Stafford is 17-1. Russell Wilson is 20-1. Kyler Murray 23-1. I'm so far out on the Cardinals. I would not take Murray. Russell, there's that narrative out there that he's never had an MVP vote. But you'd be hard pressed to find a year where he's ever deserved an MVP vote. I think there's been clear-cut candidates every year.
And again,
Stafford's not going to win it, but Stafford's going to throw the ball a shit ton. So I would take a look at maybe him to lead the league in passing yards. I don't know if they have that.
I think that.
But I think Allen's the move there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Allen's the play. Obviously, no debate here. I still don't see Russell Wilson either. Unfortunately, I think he's in the best division in football in the NFC West. I think that's the deepest across the board. I think all 4 teams are solid. The Cardinals a little lower than everybody else, but that's going to be a bloodbath of a division. And those teams know Russell Wilson so well. It's not like he's going to surprise anybody with what he's doing. He's still got
Mitchell Trubisky plus 42,000. Can I intrigue you for $1?
No.
I know. I just look at some of these crazy long shot odds here. It's like
some of them. He's in Buffalo now.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, man. If Allen goes down, Buffalo's still going to be a solid team. Plus 42,000. Who knows? Some of these are crazy though. Like once you scroll down the MVP odds enough, you're just throwing darts at a board. It's like Chase Young is 12,000 plus 12,000. Nick Chubb is plus 12,000. Michael Thomas is on here plus 18,000. He's not even going to play half the year. It's crazy. I don't know.
What's McCaffrey at right now?
McCaffrey MVP. He's plus 5,000. So the argument there is they're not going to be nearly good enough, right?
I know that, but if he stays healthy for an entire year, which I know has been the bugaboo in his entire career, just staying healthy for 16 games, now 17. That's an offense where he will put up stats all over the place.
Oh, he's going to put up monster numbers. Clear number 1 fantasy pick in all drafts. One of the best running backs in the league.
I'm not high on the Panthers this year. I'm still not sold on Sam Darnold being the answer there. They do have a young coaching staff, an inexperienced coaching staff, but McCaffrey gets his, and he puts a strong season together with some outrageous stat lines. I mean, 5,000 to 1 couldn't hurt to throw a couple dollars on there.
Yeah, plus 5,000, so 100 wins 5,000. I mean, I bet on worse, but I don't know. All right, so we like some of those futures, obviously, and the biggest thing that I've learned, these do not move. The NFL futures do not move until halfway through the season. The MVP is a little different. It does shift, but it's usually shifting incorrectly. So keep an eye on the MVP race. Don't take the favorite in week 5 or 6 because they're not going to be the favorite in a couple weeks, even if they end up winning it. So just be cognizant of like what odds you're getting and not just who you think is going to win. The Super Bowl odds are going to remain the same, barring any serious injuries for 2 months at least, I would say. So you'll get the Rams at 12 to 1 at least, if they come out the gates flying. The Chiefs will be 5 to 1 forever. The Bucs will be 6 to 1 forever. The Bills will be 11, 12 to 1 forever. So no need to hop on these instantly. But I do like betting futures. You bet futures in the NFL at all?
I mean, I have money on Green Bay 12 to 1 to win the whole
Yeah, I mean,
thing.
it's a nice little payday at the end of the year.
Yeah, and like it's money you've already put away. You don't have to worry about it. And then if it hits later in the year, you're like, oh, there's an extra 650 right in the pocket.
That's correct. So speaking of futures, real quick, because we hit a lot on week 1 this year or this podcast, NBA 2022. So the NBA is like my strongest sport. That's where I've made my most money gambling. I just find that I have a significant edge for whatever reason on the NBA. Watch a lot of it, talk a lot of it, think about it a lot. NBA championship odds are out. They're kind of wacky. The Nets are obviously the favorite. They're plus 230 right now. The Lakers behind them, though, they're 4 to 1. I love the Lakers at 4 to 1 there. They would have won the thing last year if they didn't get hurt, or the Nets would have, obviously. But if the Nets got hurt and the Lakers didn't, I think they would have won the whole thing. You have the Bucks at plus 850, the Warriors at 13 to 1. You can throw that out. The Jazz at 14 to 1, and the Suns at 14 to 1. You can throw both of them out. The Sixers are 18 to 1. I don't know. Why not the Lakers at 4 to 1?
Again, you hit the nail on the head with injuries. LeBron's getting older.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? But they got 3 guys now. They got 3 guys.
LeBron's getting older. Davis, he's getting older too. Although we think he's young, he's been around for several years now. He's getting older. All it does is take one freak play to go down. But I think at least this year you're going to see. I think, and I'm hoping so, because I am a big Steph Curry guy. I know your thoughts on Steph Curry. I know you're big.
I think we have opposing viewpoints.
But I would love, with a healthy Klay Thompson now back in the fold for the Warriors, I would love to see a Lakers-Warriors conference final this year. I think it'd be great TV. Everybody's going to be tuned in for hopefully a 7-game series there. I think the Suns, they had a great run last year, but they had a lot of things go their way.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns are out, right? Like, they got probably the easiest path they could have gotten. Every team they played got hurt, and no credit away from them. They still made the finals. It's not their fault who gets hurt. But at 14 to 1, I certainly wouldn't touch any of their odds this year. The Lakers at 4 to 1 sounds so good to me because they got, they 2 of their guys very injury prone in Bron and AD. They got the ultimate regular season player in Russell Westbrook. So who better to shoulder the load if those guys miss a couple weeks or need a couple days off?
4 to 1's good odds for the Lakers.
4 to 1 sounds good. The Bucks at 850. That's not bad either. If you want to look at some long shots down here, the Celtics are 4,900.
Miami.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's 2,400. I don't love them. The Nuggets are 20 to 1. Actually, the Nuggets at 20 to 1 is not a bad play either. The Clippers you can write off at 20 to 1. They might, they'll probably make it in as an 8 seed because no Kawhi for the regular season. But I like the Nuggets at 20 to 1. It's probably not worth betting these either, considering, I mean, we have a lot of time to talk NBA, right? But the only one that I'll say that I really do want to kind of look at here is scoring title. You have Tatum at 18 to 1 to win the scoring title. That sounds crazy high to me. I think this year is a big leap year for Tatum. We just saw the last time that we saw him play, he was scoring 50 in a playing game and then 50 against the Nets less than a week later, right? So say what you want about the Celtics' history in the past couple of years. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 of the last 5 years. Tatum has shown elevation every year. 18 to 1 for him to win the scoring title. What do you think?
I think those are good odds for him too. I mean, he had some valuable experience this year playing on the Olympic team with Durant, Damian Lillard, bona fide scorers in the league that know how to get points. And Tatum, I think he's going to use that experience, learn from the vets. Celtics are good. He is the guy in Boston. He's going to be shooting a ton. I think Harden's getting old, and he's in an offense with too many playmakers that he's not going to be putting up the numbers he was doing in Houston. He's going to be more of an assist guy. Kyrie, you still don't know what you're going to get out of him. Durant is going to get his if he stays healthy for a full year. That'll be, in my eyes, Tatum's biggest competition in the East.
Yeah, see, I think it's Beal. I think Beal's his biggest competition for scoring title, and Beal's the favorite here at like 3-1 last I checked.
Yeah, but
then you have Curry.
Yeah,
I can't see Curry doing the same thing with his full team.
Yeah, but Beal doesn't have Westbrook anymore to offset him, so he's going to be locked down every single game.
That's the argument, right?
I think he does take a step back this year, unfortunately, because Westbrook is gone. But
yeah, I mean, I don't love any of those guys. I just think Tatum at 18-1. Like, you have some stupid guys ahead of him. Zion is ahead of him for the scoring title. Zion's not going to win the scoring title. Tatum could win the scoring title. So if you're taking anything, I would take him at 18-1 right now, because that might dissipate a couple weeks into the season if they really see him going off. He's also 29-1 to win MVP. I don't know if I like that as much, but I could see a world where that happens. Maybe the Nets get hurt again, or somebody gets hurt. The Celtics finish top 3 in the East, which is certainly possible. Maybe Tatum's averaging 36 a night if he really goes off, right? 34 a night, and the Celtics are winning. He's got a shot at it. So I'm in on Tatum this year. That's my big NBA play. We have plenty of time to talk NBA in the coming months. But we'll leave it at that for now. So lastly, on the docket today, we wanted to talk for like 2 minutes just about some casino gambling tips. You and I have been going to the casino a little bit together lately. We both love going to the casino, playing some cards for a couple hours. We're hopefully going next week together. So we're
going next week.
We're going next week. Maybe we can put some of these tips into play.
Get that hopeful nonsense out of here. We will be at Mohegan Sun at some point on Saturday night, winning money and using these tips we're about to give you right now.
And using these tips. So I have 2 tips that I want to give, and you're free to give yours after that, or kind of build on mine. My number 1 requirement for people that play cards: bring enough goddamn money. Do not go to the table with $100 and bet $25 a hand, because you are going to lose that $100. And you're going to have to go back to the ATM, and you're going to miss hands that you're winning. Don't bring less than, I would say, this might be higher than most people bring. If you want to bet $25 hands, you have to bring at least $500. That's 20 units. Because there's a chance that you can go down. You don't want to not have enough money to double when you're supposed to double. You don't want to not have enough money to split and double, right? So even if you have $100 left and you're betting $25 a hand, you end up with, 8s and you split them. You end up with another 8 and you split them. You get a 3 and now you have an 11. You have to double it. You're going to run out of money. Just bring enough money. That's my number 1 tip. And that's why people lose, because they don't bring it.
You also don't put the hamstring on yourself to have to get hot very quickly, only going with $100. Because again, that's 4 hands, and people lose 4 straight hands all the time, even if they are playing them correctly. So you could be out very quick, and it's just not worth your while. I agree with you 100%. I don't put in that much, but I do. I go in the 200 to 300 range at a time. Give me 8 to 12. Work from there. I know you're the big spender, but I do agree. Make sure you.
Just bring enough, right? Bring enough, and obviously don't bring more than you're comfortable losing. Don't be saying, Ken told me to go in with $2,000 and I lost my mortgage payment. Obviously, don't do that. Go with what you're willing to lose. But I'll put it this way: if you're only willing to lose $100, you can't bet $25 a hand. You have to bet $5 a hand, right?
Correct.
You can't have an improper unit size, and that's the number one takeaway. Nobody cares. I'll go to the $5 table with you all night. I don't care how much you're betting. I don't care how much I'm betting. We're there to enjoy the time playing cards, right?
Agreed.
So this is not a dick swinging contest. This is just saying if you're betting $25 a hand, $100 is not enough. If you can only bring $100, you have to bet less, probably $5, $10 per hand. That's that. The other biggest tip that I would have, number 2, is kind of what Bert just said, is longevity. You cannot go there, sit down for 2 hands, and expect to double your what you brought, right? You have to be prepared to sit there for an hour or 2 and slug it out sometimes, right? And if you get up, if you bring $200 and you win the first 4 hands and you hit 2 blackjacks and you're up to $350, you can walk away. That's fine. Like, if your goal was to make $150, you're not going to do it again for the rest of the night. If you win it in the first 5 minutes, you're probably not going to get above that again because you're going to lose a couple hands in a row. And if you want to get above that, you're going to have to play for a couple hours. So the commitment is one of two things. One, you go in there, you bet high unit hands, and unit means the amount of dollars you're prepared to spend per hand or per bet, which should be the same every time you bet, right? So if you're in there and your goal is to make $100 and you do it, you could walk away and that's fine. But if you play any more hands, you have to be prepared to be there for an hour or two because you can't win $100, play 2 more hands and lose them, and then stand up because at that point you've made a bad investment. What do you think?
Yeah, blackjack is a game of swings, and it's just being ready for those swings and not overreacting to the situation if you do lose a couple hands in a row. And this is going to go into my tip. Have a system that you're going into and keep that system consistent the whole way through. And I'm really talking about those 12s when a 3 is showing and those 6s when an overcard is showing, whether you hit or stay. I'm a big proponent, regardless of what that situation is. You either hit all the time on 16s or you stay all the time on 16s. You can't be alternating back and forth based on what you feel for that particular hand. Same with the 12s on a 3 or a 12s on a 2, whatever that situation may be. You're either going to stay or you're going to hit every single time. And that's a big pet peeve of mine. Unfortunately, I'm stuck in more situations than not sitting at the end of a table and I'm seeing inexperienced players play these hands incorrectly, and I get the cards that I'm not supposed to get, and I know some guys do make a scene about it. I try to do everything by the book, or at least the same way every single time. But biggest thing, read a card selection breakdown before you go. Have an idea of which ones you're going to be hitting on, which ones you're going to be staying, splitting, doubling down, et cetera, et cetera. Keeps the flow of cards going, and I think with the same mindset, you're going to have more success a lot more times than failing. And that's
yeah, I mean, you got to know the chart, right? You have to know the chart, and you can bring that chart with you. You can literally print it out, put it on the table next to you. They don't care if you look at it.
There's no rules against it.
You could also ask the dealer. The dealers are more than happy to tell you what you're supposed to do, and if you have a good dealer, they know the book as well. But they should, and they want to see you win, right?
They want to see you win. That's the big. They want to help you win money because they want you to come back and spend more money on them.
The dealers don't win. The dealers don't win any money. They don't win a penny when they flip over a blackjack, right? They don't want to flip the blackjack. They want you to win. So I would say definitely know the chart. Definitely don't be afraid to ask for advice. And definitely do the same thing every time. If you have a 16 against a 7 showing, it's the worst fucking hand in the book, right? You're in a losing position no matter you hit or stand. But you have to be comfortable yourself saying, all right, if I stand, I do this every time. Or if I hit, I do this every single time. I hit that one. If you stand it, I'm fine with it. But don't be changing ways because the first time you'll stand and the next card's a 5 and you would have 21. So the next time you hit and then you flip a 10 and you bust, right? So you can't second guess yourself. You have to have the same thing every time. Totally agree.
And my last tip, not really a tip, it's more of a mindset going in. I think it brings positivity. It's going in with a positive mindset that you're going to win money every single time you go in there. If you think you're going in there and you think you're going to lose money, you are going to lose money. You're working as a team, especially in blackjack, so everybody wins. And if you got one bad apple, or one bad egg in that group, it brings the whole morale down. Chances are everybody's going home unhappy. But going with a positive mindset, scared money don't make money. Get ready to bet, because if you bet, you're going to win. And if you bet big,
that's it, right?
Big.
That's it. And have a good attitude at the table. Nothing better than some good mojo between everybody going to the table. My wife is the first one to tell you I get a little rambunctious at those tables, yelling and smacking the table to hit and everything. But it's good, right? Because it builds some energy throughout the table, and everybody's happier and everybody plays correctly. And we should do a whole podcast on this, honestly, of some blackjack tips, because you and I play enough. Maybe after next weekend, we'll kind of recap our experience.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great episode 2 talking point.
It's a good way to make money if you know what you're doing. You can obviously lose a lot of money real fast. Any blackjack player will tell you can lose 10 hands in a row just as easily as you can win 10 hands in a row. So you need to be prepared for either, right? So we'll leave you with those tips today. Real quick, two we'll talk about college football next week. I have no input on college football, but once we see a couple weeks of gameplay under our belts, maybe we can get some hot picks for our listeners. The Red Sox, man. When we were humming a different tune 2 months ago. What the hell happened?
COVID has run rampant through the team, and unfortunately when the Sox went cold for a month in August, the two best teams in the league that were had the best months of August happened to be Tampa and the Yankees, and they jumped them. But they're in a dogfight. It seems like they've turned the ship a little bit. Chris Sale is back in the rotation, throwing pretty well. I mean, he had a tough start today, but it's going to be a dogfight to the end. I think they're 4 clear. The Yankees and Red Sox they have the top 2 wild card spots. That would be one heck of a play-in game matchup. Yanks, Sox.
Sure would be.
Basically,
I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm not too keen on the team. I don't think they're that good. I think it was a lot of smoke and mirrors in the first half of the season, but they were making it work. I think the fact that they did nothing at all at the deadline was an indication that they did not think they could sustain the season. Obviously, they were right, but I would like to see them make some sort of move to see if they could build.
Hey, I think they're a year ahead of schedule, and I think all this, at least this year, is just icing on the cake. And if they make the playoffs, they make the playoffs. They're ahead of schedule. I believe in their new GM. He came from Tampa. He's built a winner in Tampa. Obviously, you could see the effects of his management regime, and they're still killing it down in Tampa. Obviously, the best team in the AL East for sure. But I like what they're doing. If they take it down to the end, they get a wild card spot. Once you get in, anything can happen. And
yeah, I agree.
You know that as well as I do. You just got to get in you got to get a shot.
You just got to get in, and we'll root for them like crazy. And hey, either way, we have 3 or 4 times as many championships as the Yankees do in the past 20 years, so we'll take that.
That is correct.
All right. Well, hey, buddy, been good catching up with you. And with that, we'll leave you until next time. Next time, we'll talk some blackjack tips, some college football, and some Week 2 NFL lines. Until then, we are signing off. Go win some money.
Let's win, baby.